Is this working? Is this working? I have restarted stuff, so maybe it's working now. Am I with you? Are you with me? Hello? Gonna turn down what are you turning down? What's the deal? Any result in that changing? It looked like there was something happening. I have to say it definitely looked like it. Huh. Yes. Oh, look at that. We're getting actual yeses. It's working. Been sitting in silence and just pooped myself because I had you turned up really loud. Okay, excellent. We're back. Thanks very much for bearing with me, ladies and gentlemen, and for sticking with me here today. I'm sure a lot of people disappeared, but they're fannies. So it's an honor. It's an honor to sit here and actually be heard. Thank you. Price action did that 10%. We see it at 0.9730. The high of the day, 1.03. Lots of important artifacts around that area. Price action knocking on heaven's door. And so am I suppose. Bing bong, price is wrong. Bing bong, the microphone isn't wrong anymore. So you know me as Trade Spotting, your compadre. In no way do I choose to be a leader of anything. Merely a Sherpa, a little guide, a fellow traveler along this similar journey of financial discovery that you guys are on. And I too am trying to master my trading abilities. Best way to predict your future is to create it. So that's what we're trying to do together in groups of one. Shout out to your group at the minute. Is it working? It still is. I'm going to be paranoid all stream now that it's breaking. Paranoid, extremely paranoid, upset and worried, humbled and inspired though by the positive messages I've got today from the community, or just generally the community that exists and is so strong and resilient. And it keeps growing around our shared passion for trading and investing and doing things properly. This is the hourly time frame. It's the important horizontal support and resistance areas that we looked at. On the daily, see here, it looks very, very strong, very positive work there. 4-hour time frame, higher highs, nothing to worry about. Coming up and testing higher on the RSI. You could take this up to the top side and see that there's a couple of touches of that area. But if you're looking at it on the daily, which is more important, despite the ambiguity, because of the distance of the monitor and the quality of TradeSpotting's vision, is still, you can see that RSI is above there. 4-hour time frame, you'd be questioning that, and if it means that price action is coming in test of support again. 1-hour time frame, this is all post-market prices included, which is not the most reliable, but I'll talk about that in a second. Some people would look at this and ask, is it flagging? As you can see on the hourly, testing that equal high, it was bearishly divergent at that point, and it continued to the top side. So pushing into the bullish control zone on the hourly, on the RSI, long way below, find that center line. Things looking good, I would say. So I would try to move that properly. Okay, here it is. So positive moves, lots to look forward to, and reasons why it could keep going up, even though there's plenty of reasons why it would be fair to say it's done an awful lot recently. Those successes that we've celebrated together, all of those difficulties that we've overcome personally or as a group, these have changed us And these changes aren't just mine to celebrate alone. They belong to you guys. You have done so good on this in the last wee while based on the conversations I've been looking at. And I owe you all my thanks for being here with me and doing this cool thing together. That's making us, like I say, groups of one, doing it all on our own volition at our own prices. So thanks. But thanks above all to my brother, Rocky Outcrop. His dedication and his brilliance are the cornerstone of our journey together. It might seem like I'm delivering messages, but I'm mostly just the mailman, as they call them in America. Rocky once said that I shouldn't drive my audience over to his shows. And he was right. Not because I didn't want to. My goal has always been to connect with those traders who possess the most ambition and the most talent to rise to the occasion. But at that point, I was speaking in that same voice to people who hear a challenge and inside them they feel a spark ignite. Those people who deep down know that my message is for them, that you should be watching Rocky. This community, thriving on the principles of planning and rational action, is built by him. It's his Discord. That was pretty accurate. Is it flagging? Is it oscillating? So the meticulous management of the trading community, a lot of that is done by Rocky. All the heavy lifting, he does it all. And together we're trading in these very volatile markets. Get down to the 1 minute. All of this is after hours pricing. To all, to each, a fair good night, a pleasing dreams and slumbers light. That's what it's like post-market. Our dreams, though, are built on a foundation of knowledge and discipline and strong risk management that informs our strategy. And with that, we've got a good focus, not on ensuring that we have the most ambitious dreams, but that they're achievable and that they don't become nightmares. These insights, these strategies that we're developing together, 1 minute post-market at this stage of the day is not actually all that important. So I'll slip it onto the 4 hour, where we've got those higher highs, and put it on the regular, and you can see a lot of positive candles in a row. Nothing nightmarish about that. Future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their own dreams. That was Eleanor Roosevelt. I believe in the beauty of your dreams. Also think with a slightly larger audience, we could really start changing the world on the rapido. This vision isn't about me, though. Or is it exclusively about price? It's a message for those of us who really want to learn and want to make the most of their trading lives. You only get one. Maybe you get three. Liquidated twice and you're here, serious now. So if you've got the means, you've got the motivation, join Rocky and me. If you've not yet invested in these things we talk about, then that's totally on you. Not financial advice. It's just educational and entertaining. Together we do create a fantastic team, though. A team of traders, not in any one stock, but people together creating change right on the face of the markets. Strong trend line there. Back above previous highs on the daily. Question marks about Class B divergence on the RSI at the moment. Whoops, a daisy. And so if it is, then you might look for it to be akin to a failure swing, but not quite so bad, and look for support. Support could be down on the 30-minute time frame. As you can see, that would be a higher low if it come in and test in around these areas again. But putting in higher highs, and this having gone through a period of transition, really the area to break was back here at 889, and anything below there now, you would look at it slightly differently. You'd have a completely different analysis from what I just outlined, though it's all valid, right? It's just about distributing the probabilities. So take action, guys. Join the Discord community, be part of what we're doing. It's run by Rocky, and it's filled with experienced traders, the sort of trader you'd like to be. It's full of them. And they're ready, they're helpful, sharing their knowledge. Think about it, join up. Price action closing 97.30. So if that keeps happening, back above but what about getting back above 100, right? You get up to 100, that's a very positive news, very positive, really received by the market. If price to push on another 10%, then you'd be looking at, and that sort of 10%, that $10 on price at that point. It's not all that unreasonable. And if you're buying the thing at $1, then that $10, that, think about the multiplier on your position. Think about it. It's fun, isn't it? Yep, it's fun. Just like that Discord where you'll find a wealth of resources. I see you guys. Thank you very much for being here, moderators. Wealth of resources, lots of fun, just like you see on the chart here on price action, but with memes included, lots of support, and a community of people that share your passion, your drive, and your ambition. So, thanks for being part of this incredible journey. Let's check out some more things on the chart. What did I say I would explain? I turned it off post-market because of the volatility we see there. Yesterday, you'll have seen huge moves post-market. The next day, today, price action closing up to the top side, back above 10%, but it did retrace back down to close what could have been a potential gap. Nothing to worry about here, though. Navigating those complexities and becoming more confident in price means that you should probably take my course. It's linked in the description. I think it is. Maybe it isn't. Technicalanalysis.school. You'll need the WW, friends. A very comprehensive course that teaches you everything you'll need to know to orientate yourself correctly when it comes to price. You'll understand the market and the general cycles it goes through with price. You'll get mastery, top level skills in technical analysis, risk management, and you'll also pick up lots of different practical trading strategies. Check it out. Check it out with lots of live coaching from good people too. I see them in the chat box as well. So the next target, if you're looking at resistance, is up around, perhaps looking for resistance, you'd take this guy, 117. Perhaps you'd look at this guy, 123, that sort of level, perhaps. It is in the zone of resistance now, which you could probably mark off with this guy. Say in or around these levels. It's there. Oof. If it breaks above these levels, bing! I suppose I should make that more accurate. But it's really just making a point, which I have made now. So, yes, take that course. You'll get expert guidance. You'll be involved in interactive learning. You'll be in a social, supportive community of people that want to connect with fellow traders and help you along your journey. You enroll using that link, www.technicalanalysis.school. That's not what really the show's about. GameStop's closed down today at close, down 1.07%. Post-market, it's lost 30 cents. Live person, it's not a competition, right? Because live person wins every competition. Have you noticed the news recently? 10% there, up today, 9730. And yes, I did see those tweets from Ryan Cohen just as I was about to go live. I got a notification. I thought maybe my phone was being weird. Hey, thought maybe my phone was being weird, but it isn't. It isn't being weird. It says my phone. My phone's like, it's not me, it's Ryan Cohen. I'm not doing it. I swear to God, it's not me. I swear to God. I'm inclined to believe it because it doesn't typically let me. So, we've been through the timeframes here looking, mostly I've been pointing out support and resistance, the ambiguity with regards to momentum. But you might anticipate that when it comes up to resistance. The question being, what's it look like back compared to the past? What does it look like compared to the recent past? Until such time as this pulls back down again, You can't define this as a high, so you can't really look to the momentum and try to pull out problems. At this point, I've got the horizontal marked out on the daily there. But if I mean, is it going to let me? Yay. On the 4 hour, there is a question mark. I'm going to borrow this guy and put it back on the daily. Borrow. I suppose you would say you're peeking your head above there. Peekaboo. But it's still very close. It's ambiguous. Whereas on the daily time frame, that was 4 hour. On the daily time frame, you are higher, so there's nothing to really worry about. Nothing with regards to the trend. But how do you define the trend? You know, people may be wondering about what's going on here. Price action at this stage. Tapping on Evan's door. These oscillations, lows, question, and then is this a flag? You don't have enough data yet to make that decision, but it's a question people will be asking. People be asking. We be trying to answering. On that note, what have you been saying in the chat box? And I'll try and answer in from the most recent onwards. Boom. Nope, wrong button. Bread and butter. Hello. Grant, good to see you. Sarah never worried. AJ, enable GIFs on the channel, the button between the channel name and the subscribe button. Hey, Joe on giving you the top quality instructions. GIFs on corn on the cob. GIFs. Buttery Pancakes, new member. J Corn and the Cobs gifted 50 memberships. Oh, holy shit. Holy shit. 50 memberships, Jay. He's a man of his word. He's back today, killing it in the chat box. Mr. J Corn and the Cob, what a legend. Good to see you, sir. 50 memberships. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. No, seriously, that's amazing. Thanks so much, Jay. I hope everybody thanks you. You've got now 50 new wives and buttery pancakes. Buttery pancakes. Love that buttery biscuit base. Holy crap. I can't see because it doesn't tell me who they are on this screen I'm on. Turn on accept gifts. That is an important part of the process. Turn on accept gifts. Is there 50 non-members here? That's amazing. I wonder what that looks like in the chat box. I'll get to watch this back and see. Thanks, J Corn and the Cob there, everybody. Oh my God, right? Oh my goodness gracious me. Price action. Is it flagging? Is it building up momentum? Is it about to break out? Some people might look to volume. Post-market pricing and volume. That's part of the deal with post-market pricing. People talk about the difficulty of trading during that period because of the lack of liquidity. And then their brain goes to liquidity equals volume. I need to see volume. But that's not actually the information. You know, if you to think about it for a moment, the liquidity isn't important because of the volume that it gives you. It's because of the picture of consensus with regards to the market that you actually get there. So it's much more about sentiment than it is about volume when we talk about liquidity, because you're getting a better idea of consensus in the market. Low liquidity is what you see during post-market trading. Lower trading volumes compared to normal trading hours. And volume is liquidity. Because you get less volume, less liquidity, less orders on the books, then you get higher volatility, price moves. The dispersal of price over a range happens over a greater range in the same period of time or less. And then if you were to see some news or something, poof, jeepers, creepers, that'd probably be standout moment. Standout moment. So it's very difficult to trust post-market prices, regardless of the nonsense around settlement and closing prices that we've seen on the markets recently. It's still very difficult to trust them, but you can trust trade spotting, as you probably know now, and you can trust the trend instead of focusing solely on your hopes and dreams. You can look at the real data on the chart. You could do some trend analysis. You could slap on some technical indicators, and you could become a consistent trader using risk management to help you out. So we talk about post-market prices because they're interesting, but they don't present a clear picture of sentiment on the market. That's what you need trend for. And the trend on all the timeframes we've checked has been to the top side. To the top side, if you want to go back to that daily time frame, clearly back above that point A. On the weekly, we talked about this yesterday, you're already firmly established the fact that price action was testing towards these really important resistance levels, was in search of support, not anything else. So we take this across. Broke back above the 886, wicked towards that previous high, back above $1. Shocking. Breaking all important levels and putting in higher highs, having put in previously higher lows. So the question is, does it now put in a higher low on the weekly? And where will price get to in advance of that onto the daily, putting in higher highs? That's fantastic. You've got a strong trend line there. It's not had enough touches really on this recent leg of trend to just say that with any confidence it'll come all the way back down there. Not at all. 4 hour, you get a picture of that, how far away it is, the fact that it could easily go parabolic and break. 1 hour time frame. This stage you would maybe come back down to the RSI and see it just lives in the bullish control zone, right? It lives up here and it likes to push to the top side of it. So there's plenty of room there to go. If price does push higher again, RSI is pushing higher still again, especially from these levels, then you would burn off any worry you had. 15-minute, you're back to this sideways price action. And I very much believe it's a period of accumulation is what we've been seeing recently on LPSN. The market volume today was 5.59 million. That's more than twice the average market volume, or in around twice the average market volume that you would see on this stock. If you were to add up all of the last 30 days and divide that volume by 30, you'd get half of what we saw today. So that's huge uptick in liquidity during the price action. So consensus from most traders is positive. Market cap at close 86 million, which is a bit of a shame that it changes the market cap from 69, but the shares outstanding, according to TradingView anyway, wherever it is. Where are you? Come on, I know you'll have to put this in my face all day, every day, TradingView. Where is it? Boom, boom. Share float, pardon me. 69 million. So that's pretty memeable. Anywho, 15 minutes, everything looking positive. Chat box. Back to the chat box. Move your stop up below where it tested for support subsequent to your entry. Vince Rodriguez. Nice. Just noticed I was gifted a membership. Thank you. Bing bong, bing bong. That was from J Corn the Cob. Undoubtedly. Welcome to the gang, buddy. Think about renewing. We'll all be drinking share floats soon. Big banana share floats. Hey, observe myself. Hey, Serrera. Hey, Minner. Hey, Lisa. Hey, mods and members and everybody else. So that's very, very positive. Obviously, people will be worried. They'll be worried because, like I was saying yesterday, they're not used to things just going their way, essentially. MACD proper cross there, 4 hour time frame, got a trend evolving, which looks like it's going to accelerate. 1 hour, everything very positive. Every time the MACD line comes down, crosses back below the signal line. Price action still well and truly above that qualifier we used, 200 period moving average, and just putting in higher and higher lows, oscillating higher each time. Positive momentum. Don't give a shit about the histogram here. And you've got a touch of positive splay on those important lines on the MACD. And on the 30-minute time frame, you had this cross back just below the center line, tested the important 50 simple period moving average. People were worried about continuation divergence. You got a cancellation and a buy signal, along with shitloads of other reasons to go along. And then up here again. And I've noticed other conversations among people here in venues where they've discussed their inability to trust the chart. And it's because they're getting conflicting signals. You're getting very positive buy signals in a bullish trend, featuring slight periods that are not too long of consolidation at resistance, which then when you combine that with your emotional reaction to price being so high and the past trauma of previous trades, at that point you tend to discount the added benefit you'd give to those bullish signals in that bullish trend and imagine it to be equal. Like, this is something that happens with the news. If you've seen it, it happens on the news. They're like, here's the story, and then they get like some information from one side of the debate, and then in order to think like that they're delivering you a credible message, they then get some other story, right? Some other opinion from the other side, the other angle on the conversation, and they think they've done you a service there. Yeah, that's not what I do when I'm doing technical analysis and talk about the potential for it to go either direction. It's instead them searching for relevance because the news is completely stupid. But when we do it as traders, we do tend to think like, is our decision well informed? And then give credibility to a side of the argument that doesn't deserve it. Like, we're not rationally understanding that counter thesis. We're instead just trying to like pretend and make excuses that we are doing that because we know it's important. And it's very easy to trick yourself that way. You know, you practice, I say it, runs marathons when you're asleep. You can't lie to anyone as good as you can lie to yourself. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're lying in a positive sense. You might be lying in a less than positive sense. So price action going sideways there, that's the 1 minute time frame. And it came off the back of this impulse move. So testing that level, if this doesn't break up, possible, come back. But it's very bullish and it's in a bullish trend. So you wouldn't necessarily put it as the sentiment being the negative outcome from a currently sideways neutral formation. You might instead think that's an emotional reaction and price is at least as equally likely to break to the top side. And if it did so, it would be continuation of a trend already in motion. And you can trust that trend. You can trust that trend, especially when you see it across all these time frames. Welcome, mate. Welcome. Bing. Referring to risk management, hypothetically, if you were to buy Lisbon at 65 cents and it ran to $1, where would your potential trailing stop be? They're all bargain prices. They're all bargain prices. Rather than speaking hypothetically, I'll give you a true example, right? I am here making this show on the internet to a lot of people I care about and hoping to reach more people and hoping in future, should it ever be required of me, to show everybody how I've behaved and for everyone to see that I acted in line with my words and that my actions matched my message, which is that I think this is an absolutely brilliant company and I'm buying it and buying it and buying it. I'm accumulating. I'm not stopping out. I'm managing my risk with a time-weighted average where I buy in a certain amount every day, as opposed to I'm buying in at the exact best price, because I know that all of these prices are good and my responsibility ethically and also financially is to make the most of this opportunity and exploit it in the most sensible way, which delivers education, entertainment, and makes me money. And that means that I can't start selling to the people who might be watching me and buying it, along with the fact that I think these are all bargain prices. And so the way I manage my risk is in the way I enter the position. And that isn't necessarily exclusively with my stop loss. So you are all able to, and I advocate that you do all possible means for managing your own risk. Mine is as a time-weighted average. So I enter all the time, building up my position, happy to take it at any price because I believe that this thing's made a big, big turnaround in its actual operations. And that's going to be a new trend that'll accelerate and take prices way, way higher. And that this is a deep value play. So I'm not managing my risk at these levels with a stop loss. And the retracement, while it might be bigger percentages than we see at higher levels, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to do that. So I'm not doing that. The way that you would manage risk with a stop loss is not by asking me, right? It's by taking the course and learning the various ways that you're able to do that. One of them is a pullback stop loss strategy, in which case your stop loss will go back above previous highs. In order to do that, you'd need to have a strategic approach to price. You'd have entered for a reason on a time frame, maybe it's on the weekly, in which case it doesn't really matter, right? Like these are the areas where you'd manage your risk. Your entry is where you then, at that point in time, you define where your stop loss would be. If your entry is somewhere that isn't ideal and now price has moved on and you're looking for where do I put a stop loss based on my entry, then you're doing it wrong, right? You're going to eventually lose all your money as a trader. That I can't say this strongly enough. You need to take that course. And because the stop loss is still on the weekly time frame in around 0.57, because there's been no pullback since. And that's just looking at very simple methodology with regards to how you would move your stop. And on daily time frame, what are you looking at? This level here, that's back below this previous high. So it's compromised that strategy. If you're looking for a test of that trend line, it would have to happen at this level. And so maybe you would be looking at a stop loss on it, but that's like so ridiculously unlikely to work out in your favor due to the low liquidity on this thing. Even on, can't expect it to double its average volume every day. It may well be that you see a little bit of volatility at that area and it just catches stops. You've got this strong area below where people will be looking to. Again, that's back below the end. It could easily catch people out, cost them a lot of money on a trade that ultimately goes to 69 or 113 or something crazy. So some people then look at 72, at which point you're giving up so much of what you've already made. And what's to say it isn't going to bounce there? And then you're just caught out with your pants down at the worst possible time. So you can try and craft a risk management strategy having already entered, but it wouldn't be based around your entry with regards to then we'll add price on top. It would be, well, where's your entry, right? And how are you going to manage it? That, not price itself, which you can't control. And then it means that you'd have to look at where it would be getting critical and dangerous. And in that sense, it's not what price has done subsequent necessarily is important. It's about how you would be conceptualizing that whole trade. And when you change your stop loss, you change your risk management. When you change your risk management, your risk reward ratio changes in the trade. And so you also have to include your target. And that speaks to your overall strategy, not how you'll capitalize on any one oscillation here or there, but how you're going to make the most of price. And then having convictions in your belief as a trader. So there's so much more goes into where do I move my stop to than what's price done since I bought the thing. But that's not meant to be a horrible chastisement of yourself. Whoever asked that, I can't remember now. I'll go back to it in a second. But it's more instead to say the totality of risk management goes far beyond a glance at the charts or as an afterthought with regards to your trade. It has to be the centerpiece of why you're trading, why it is that you're targeting certain areas, and then where it is that you're prepared to give up the trade and how much of it you're going to take on at different times as well, and what scenarios will define that, which means really we're speaking to your edge. And you'll know if over a period of time as a trader how often that edge works out in certain circumstances and other conditions less so or more. And then you'll be able to work out the probability of that edge working out in your given circumstances. You'll be able to apply that to your risk reward ratio, and then you have a sum. And that sum is it's you and how you trade and what you make over a period of time or otherwise. And so getting to know yourself as a trader, understanding how to cooperate with price, how to meet the markets properly. You do that. I mean, it would take me weeks and weeks to deliver how to do that. You take the course, that's what you do. You get serious, you join the paid side of Discord, and you meet other people who've made the same decision and will help accelerate your journey towards being your best version of a trader you can be. And that's not sales, that's one trader to another. So price action, last on the minute time frame there, in around those levels. Bing, 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 bing. Funny that, isn't it? It's like that's your knickers on the line, hanging out in the line. Make them all black and the background white, and we call it a murder of knickers. Your crows out there on the back line, drying your smalls. So that's the answer. Sorry, it's not shorter. I didn't have the time to make it, so it was Joe Heaton. Good to see you, Joe. Dead money. Got to fully delete your channel and start a new one to get rid of it. To get rid of what? What are we trying to get rid of here? What are we trying to get rid of? Zooms down to the bottom of chat recently, 169,000. That's a big number. These high temperatures have been cooking my brains like scrambled eggs. I made a Spanish omelette, otherwise known as a tortilla, today. And you have to mix the eggs, mix them all up, but then you fry it. You squish it. That's a trick. There's a ton of valuable information in those few sentences. Yes, mushroom minis. There is. There always is, though. Mariana Trench. There's another valuable information. So what are we missing out on? Careful how you say murderer of knickers. Careful now, trade spotting. Yes, the hair is very on point. Oh my God, it is. It's pointing. It's literally pointing. We got our storm balls. Is this where we go to talk about the Donald Trump SPAC? It was a SPAC back when it was a DWAC. Then it fulfilled its purpose as a special acquisition and bought and merged with DJT. We have got a thread reserved exclusively for those who wish to discuss the fortunes of DJT on the Discord. You can get in there and chat about it to your heart's content without any deep state actors looking over your shoulder. Jamie, brand account on YouTube that stops you getting memberships as gifts. Oh, unlucky. Oh, unlucky. You'll have to create another YouTube account, subscribe to me there, and then you'll get the gifts. You lucky, lucky thing. Though I am a branded account and I've been getting gifts on various channels at their various times. So it happens. It certainly happens. Tracepoint. It isn't crazy to at least maybe wait until the previous high is reached at 72.24. That was way back when they had a shitty CEO. Yeah. Sekiro. And worse AI must be worth more now. Well, if we're speaking of true value, it's in relation not to those narratives, right? That's not fundamental analysis, though a lot of people, forgive you for thinking it was based on the content you find on Reddit. Now, I'm not critiquing Reddit or the people who use it. I'm a big fan, big user of Reddit. It's more the culture and the narrative of how the conversation evolves there, that people think fundamental analysis is lots of real world factors, and those real world factors aren't how it looks when you go to use LivePerson or when you're in a GameStop store. It's more to do with the accounting analysis, the operational effectiveness, and the business, generally speaking, how it's performing alongside its own key performance indicators. If you had GameStop and it was having a huge margin on all its products, it wouldn't need to be busy all the time, for example. Certainly not as a shop that sells sausage rolls, right? And they need to be busy all the time because they're not making $100 or $2 per sausage roll. They're making 20 cents or cheese sandwiches. So your own DD, that's a good point to your own DD there from Black Irish of Montserrat. That doesn't mean, check out LivePerson, see if it works for you, right? Because as Carmen found out when it told her that her ass was too fat for the dress she wanted, she might have left very upset with LivePerson at that point. But LivePerson knew the chat, right? Carmen had a big fat ass. So actually analyzing the fundamentals of the business is a tried and tested technique developed over hundreds of years by people who understand the markets and know how to value a company. And then they call things like true value and so on. So that's what you'd be looking at. And then you add on, along with their capital effectiveness assets the business owns. You do an accounting analysis across their P&L and their balance sheet. So, like, I can say easily, yes, KT, I agree with you. Based on the factors that you identified, it's probably worth a shitload more now, plus the fact that you build in inflation. And then you say likely it is worth a lot more. If that original investment thesis comes back, like this company can do amazing things, then the all-time high would be in target again. And the fact that the chart shows that it got to $72.24 previously means that that's where you would maybe think of looking to in a positive trend that evolved up through the weekly to the monthly to the yearly. You would very much look to those areas. But from here, we try to draw a strategic approach to price and look for technical artifacts that might be beneficial. And in that sense, all-time high is just one thing. It's just one number in and of its own. It's a snapshot without added context. It's very difficult to give it proper meaning and understanding. But yes, I mean, I agree with you. I would look for other things as well, stronger reasons why it might take us through those obstacles between here and there, and how they together form a path for price to that area and above. So you're very much right that it wouldn't be wrong to look there. And creating that path is what we do on the show. I have a feeling Jimmy will dilute soon. Didic. Ahead of a dilution, the trick is to tweet with the name of a political candidate over and over and over and over and over in one message. That's the trick. Just ahead of your stock operator getting involved, just to keep the underwriter happy, just to make the most of the situation. Tweet millions and millions of times about one particular political candidate. It's you know, he can do what he wants, right? Cohen can do what he wants. He can tweet what he wants. He's very much his own person. That's quite clear. And nobody will be able to ever tell him any different. I think that was probably obvious. And people say when they want to critique him, like, his politics were obvious, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, I mean, that isn't the point, whether they were obvious or not. That other side of the argument is that they didn't want him expressing them. But always what Ryan Cohen does is act and he's true to himself always. And so when he tweeted RIP, like the gravestone, and we all saw that. You would have had at that point been quite clear that Ryan Cohen's going to do whatever it is he wants to do. He's not interested in what somebody else tells him is rational, because he's got his own understanding of how the world works, and he tells and proves on the regular that his vision of how things work is correct. So, he's able to do what he wants. He gets away with it, quote unquote. Here, I just quoted myself live and hadn't said it before. He gets able to do what he wants to do. And I don't think it's going to change anybody else's political opinion. Just like the way when we do these shows, it's not financial advice. People are going to do what they were going to do anyway. And I also don't mean like they'll just vote one way or the other because he says it, but because I don't think that's true. But furthermore, I don't think it'll have an impact on price because it's a very even split. If anything, it's more to the candidate he's endorsing. And so impacts on price would be evened out, if not encourage it. So I don't think that's why he's doing it either, though. What I mean is to say is that it doesn't actually impact anybody's finances with his behavior. So to critique him that way would be wrong in one instance, and then ignoring so much of the fact that his involvement has pushed the price up a significant amount from what was the low this last set $11 or something. So in and around these areas, not all that crazy. And yeah, but ahead of a potential dilution, I don't imagine he would be tweeting that way. Does he want to attract that ire? Look, the news nearly came up. GameStop currently up 8 consecutive days. Well, it ruined that, didn't it? For goodness sake, GameStop. Looking good for an 8-day winning streak. Is that all today? Wow, they really know how to get it wrong, don't they? Anywho, price action here struggling to break above a 382. That might speak to continuation on that previous trend. You had bullish divergence between these two lows, but then you've got, if I make this slightly bigger, you've got extremely strong continuation divergence here, in that the highs on the momentum much higher than they were on these previous oscillations, but price action not so much. So finding resistance, even if it did push higher, in at around 28 spot 38 here, wouldn't be completely out of the picture. Wouldn't be unbelievable. How much of a retracement is this? Just so I can anticipate what's happening next after that. Golden pot. Okay, so more information tomorrow with brilliant. How does he do it? Moments. Live person. 1 minute. 1 minute. Yeah, a lot of people will be worried. Is this a Adam and Eve? Is this the top side of price action? It's a 1 minute time frame. 1 minute time frame isn't, especially immediately after an impulse move. Not getting the full picture there. Just enough to create a bit of liquidity so that those people who want it to go up can get some more of it at this moment. That's all there is, really. And speaking about continuation divergence, but sure, that's the 1 minute time frame. So calm down there. Death of a banana fridge. No, kitties is not for sale. Everything's got a price, kitties. Like an imbecile. Like, for example, I don't ever imagine, like, I don't envisage selling my life person. I want to see it get to certain levels and manage my risk in other ways. But those levels do exist up around 116, 126. Those levels, at that stage, I might think, here we're at true value based on my analysis. And from these levels, what are my opinions on the business? And I might not sell the shares, again, try to be as ethical as possible and run a YouTube channel, speaking to people, talking about life person. Literally nobody else gives a shit about it other than us. So at least when we started. So what was the question? Yeah, very excited about it. Well, they're no friends of mine. Yeah, exactly. And they're not our friends. I like True Value. Yes, Mr. Pajama Jama. Magic always comes at a price. Say that, but I went on holiday to Cuba, and the hotel had a resident magician, and he was free. He was free. It was his job. He got paid the same amount as, I don't know, the brain surgeons or whatever. I don't actually know the context of that communist system, but he seemed to believe that he got the same amount as brain surgeons, and I didn't have to pay him a thing. And magic was free. Magic was crap, though. It was like when they bring you rabbit and tell you it's chicken, or when they say it's Coca-Cola, but it's not even dark. It's not even, or it is and it's got no fizz. And you're like, guys, it's carbon. Fizz is under sanction. What's going on? You know, I bet he was amazing. Nah, he wasn't. He was terrible. I showed him a couple of tricks as it happens. I like service merchandise. Well, what you like? What are we talking about here? Live person t-shirts. I feel like you are proving my point. Wow, out here in this court of trade spotting, I am proving the points. Chief prosecutor, trade spotting. Paid with your attention and disappointment. What are we paying with? Oh, the magician. No, I mean, I invested. He was paid in new magic skills. I taught him how to be less shit at his job. Turntables, Katie. Turntables. How the turntables? So what is this? A conversation for mods? Where's everybody else at? Hey, where's those lurkers that don't talk? Hey, where you at, you thieves? You thieves. Chip in with a hello, at least, for goodness sakes. You must be happy with way life. Lurking here. Thousands of people watching the video. Where are the comments? Where are the comments from the thousands of people that are laughing? Yo, Corey. Good to see you. We need the tadpole wheel. We need it. We need that wheel. Where is Owl? Probably out hunting mice or something, right? You know, owls are like forever. He's out either hunting mice or going twit-twoo, twit-twit-twoo, twit-twit-twoo. And you're thinking, that's just a stupid owl, even though he's telling you exactly where prices are going and how everything's going to happen in between times. You're like, oh my goodness, shut up, owl. And he's like, twit-twoo, twit-twit-twoo. Isn't that exactly what's happening? Yes, it is. Howl the wheel. That sounds very nightmarish. I don't understand owl. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, you're a huge team of people. There's an emoji calendar. There's everything. And you've been schooled in it by those cool people on Reddit. Have schooled you in how to analyze the memes. I am a dinosaur 007, a secret spy dinosaur, working on behalf of Her Majesty's Secret Service, His Majesty's spotter. Catch up with. Wow, I should. Wow, I should have breakfast for dinner. Oh my God, what's going on? Is Steven Seagal well versed in the calendar? I haven't seen Steven in a few days. I haven't been in his vicinity, at least knowingly anyway. Sometimes I do get little Steven Seagal senses tingling within me, and I'm like, he's somewhere. And then I look to the sky, and when I look up, all I see is a Spooderman signal, boom, boom, and then I go and buy Lipson. Are they good prices to buy Lipson? Well, I mean, that sort of goes back to the question of risk management. Like, where do you think it's going, right? I think it's going up past $100. So where do you think it's going? And what price are we at now? And where might it get back to in the meantime? Oh, look, it's up a big chunk. Post market, it's up in the positive numbers. Boom. So you might be thinking to yourself, is like, how do I decide if now's a good time? Well, a lot of people have been thinking for ages, right? Is now a good time since you're like 5, 4? Is now a good time? Is now, maybe it'll come back. It doesn't look so great, and it hasn't come back. And then it's up at these levels, and they're thinking maybe it'll come back. I might get some. And every time they think a reasonable entry is somewhere where it never gets because it's in an uptrend and it's breaking to the top side, and people who already own it are still buying more of it. And its psychological impact for them is even greater than somebody who hasn't yet bought any, because it messes up their entry point, right? Quote unquote entry point, and has an impact for the risk management. Yet they're still able to manage that movement in price. And other people are caught on the sidelines asking, is now a good time? And now a good time? And like, what that is you being a big chicken, right? There's no real other way of talking about it. It's you being a big chicken, not knowing what to do, full stop, innit? Let's be honest. So like this, right? We've had this conversation about Bitcoin, for example, since it was way down here. And people were saying at 15 grand, is it a good buy? And Rocky Outcrop said, well, if it breaks above 17, it's a good buy. And then in around here at 19,490, they were like, will it get back to 17 to test it so I can get in? And it didn't. It went up to 30. And they were then thinking like, oh, well, will it get back to this prior high? 25, some of them. And they got in. Very, very smart. They got in. It never got anywhere near testing 19 again, which was the hold a higher low, and that seemed like the best value to them. But the reason it was the best value was because it was very, very close to where their stop would be. But do you need to have such a tight risk management if you're targeting something that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of percent up? If it's just a technical trade and it's based on a little move, then maybe you would be taking it 19, selling it back when it got to 30. Maybe it's Bitcoin here I'm talking about. I'm using it to make my life easier. And because it's happened, loads of messages on Discord, on the channel, on Rocky's channel, leave fuckloads of them. People like missed this 25. They thought it would come there again. It didn't. It boosted up and tested 50. And then from 50, people thought, well, it's surely going to retrace a significant amount now, but down to 40 grand wasn't enough for them because their brain was still caught on 25, which was informed by 19, which was originally all thinking like maybe it'll get to 17, the whole thing's fucked, and hating on people who were making money. And there it is. It went up and it tested 70 something stupidly high. And when it does the same thing again, those same people will still be like, oh, but it was at 15 and I could have bought it. And they'll talk about it to their grandkids. Oh, I could have bought it at 15, blah, blah, blah. Right. And is that going to be you on Lipson? I don't know. It's up to you how you manage your risk. This is not financial advice, but I can tell you how to trade. And that's a strong reaction. Boom. Boom, boom. Marcus Lager, pretend to send me your resume and I will pretend to see what I can do. Hey. Gonna pretend promotion for the pretend cheese sandwiches. So I just kept buying. I don't think Bitcoin is a good buy at 50k, says Matt Strubin. Why? It'll have dropped below a lot of important support levels on that 1 minute time frame. Anywho, lots of different questions about your thesis there. I need a reality to get out of cheese sandwiches. So I YOLO'd again. Shite, I think I got 9 YOLOs since I identified it as a cat. Identify as a cat. You identify as a cat now. Careful. There's extremely liberal tones in that comment. You get in danger. You're getting in danger. Not for me, because you've managed to stay away from politics, clearly. But from everybody else who'll attack you. Did you not see Ryan Cohen's tweet? They'll attack you. Danger, exactly. Very high danger tingles. Lurking, hello. Hello, real platypus. Good to see you, buddy. How are you doing? It's great to see you, platypus. How could I ever forget you? Not dumb if it makes money. Well, it might. Like, plenty of dumb people have made money. That has happened. But Tubes, I think, is probably on the right track. I have no theories. I just rage bought LPSN. That's another way of handling price. And breakfast friends, automatic breakfast friends. You start having breakfast for dinner. You're crazy. You have dessert for your first course, sure, but you can't have breakfast for dinner unless it's cereals. Alexa just told me what a cereal is for some reason. What if you don't have a portfolio anymore and you just have a stock? What about what if that question isn't properly conceived? If it's the start of a conversation with me, you're gonna have to do a lot better than that, sir. Is it part of a conversation that's already started? Perry the platypus went to town and he got a taxi because he was really rich. So he wanted a driver. And when I hear owls hoot hoot, YOLO, my youngest kid and my bad kidney. Your bad kidney. Paper handing your kidneys out here. I don't have enough monies. Yeah, who does though, right, Mr. Bacon Pancakes? Someone else owns something else, lol. It's true story. Somebody else somewhere in the world does. Latest LPSN vid voodoo. There's a meme playlist, the LPSN meme playlist. You go to my channel, go to the content videos, and then playlists, and they're all there in chronological order, which is important if you're trying to figure out what they mean, because they're obviously made in sequence with the knowledge that one's been made before and that one will be made in future. And so the hints, and it's not like you imagine the hints and the information in them. It's really there and it's helpful. Meme calendar, very nice, by the way. It's very nice. Yes, very nice. Have you figured it out yet? Nice shirt, Jimmy. Did you have your bowling league tonight? Well, that is such a weak comment. Is it meant to be? Is it meant to be asinine? If it was, then you did a great job. Congratulations, Katie. You did a great job if it was meant to be. Jeez. Is there something not cool about bowling? Bowling's cool as shit, by the way. No, it wasn't bowling. I didn't have my bowling night. And if it was a bowling night, I'd have matching pants as well, but I don't. It's denim. Do you dig denim? Thank you. You're too kind. A lot of people say that, Katie. A lot of people say that. Great. You're part of the club now. Every time you say these things, you get deeper and deeper into the inner circle. Well, portfolio for me really means the proportion of ownership between two stocks. Have you got anything not invested in stocks but just cash? Because then you've got three different assets. Cash itself is an asset. Remember not to mess with the Jesus. Don't mess with the Jesus. That is not advised. So portfolio. People like have a portfolio. It's not like a garage, right? Where you can say like, I've got a garage, but there's nothing in it. It's just an empty room that you keep like cardboard boxes in that you didn't manage to get to recycling on time. That's not a portfolio. A portfolio is a combination of assets. It can include cash. It might only be two, but a real portfolio will have more than just the names of the tickers inside it and the value that's attributed to each, but it'll have a strategy and it'll be in aim of a particular goal, which, when well defined, means that you can draw a clear path to it. Whether or not that happens immediately or not, it's a different question. But if you've got a strategic approach to your investments and you've got more than one, then it's not unfair to call it a portfolio. A lot of people would talk down about their own attitudes and behaviors because they've only got two stocks. But how many stocks do you think, as a retail trader, you should have? Like, what would be calling it a portfolio, right? 100, 8, 2? What's your thoughts? Let me know in the chat box. Like, what do you think? You don't have to be an institutional fund and own like a big massive ETF of everything important in the S&P 500. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you catch a fish alive? 69. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. The only thing I got out of the meme videos is that LivePerson was founded when I was born and was made for me and was made for me specifically to buy it now in 2024. Well, you've managed to come to that conclusion, obviously based on a lot of important data points there. I like it. Good movie references going over my head is just because you work so hard. Rich, good to see you. I was going to ask about an ETF. What were you going to ask about? One, Rich. Anything you're confident you'll make money in. But like, I think all these things are going up, so I've got money in all of them. I mean, that doesn't seem like a very hard-edged goal. It sounds more like a fuzzy goal, and fuzzy goals, they have a habit of not happening. Anything you're confident going up. I suppose that's true. You might have a greater plan behind that sentence. I knew I had to buy LivePerson because I am a LivePerson. Jumping Jabberwocky is true. I know it to be true. You and I both know, beyond what most people know here, how true that actually is. That you and I are both live persons. No, my portfolio has 7 ETFs, so that's a few hundred stocks. Aha. But I was watching people that I respect have a conversation about ETFs and whether or not the short interest on an ETF was comprised of or a composite of the short interest in the underlying. And they were debating it and said, well, I think it's this, I think it's that. It isn't, right? It's an asset on its own, is that ETF. If it is a composite of various different stocks, then some of those might be paying a dividend. Some of them you'll be looking at capital appreciation. Maybe they're not even in the same sector. So your risk is a completely different, the nature of your risk is completely different in ETF. So is the likely movements in price and the oscillations within all of those different assets that are within the ETF underlying there will have an implication. But it's one asset. So if you're invested in 7 ETFs, you're only invested in 7 ETFs. You're not actually investing in hundreds of other companies, especially if that ETF isn't following, like if it's a leveraged ETF, you might not actually have any shares in any of the companies that it holds, instead be operating entirely off swap contracts. And so it isn't necessarily 100% true to say that, unless, of course, you know exactly what ETFs it is and they're all holding the underlying. Yes. I'm back. What did I miss? Just little chats, really, so far. Catching up on 2x speed. He's flying. Eric was just a normal boy until he ate a banana. 9800 post market. Blumenek. And that's an uptrend. It's pretty obvious. So, like, it's obvious to everyone, not just me, and it's had a number of touches on it since it started this leg of the trend. So, the more obvious it becomes, the faster price moves to the top side because that's accelerated a trend already in motion. And then it breaks back up, goes parabolic, and everybody's expectation management has to change again. And they look back on their yesterday selves as a stupid guy should have bought more, or whatever it is that the price does. And then the implications for you yourself, the trader. Congratulations, hit that like button. Hey, right. I'm back to Lips and Beauty. Is there an ETF that tracks ETFs? Well, there's a lot of different types of ETFs. So there's like leveraged ETFs that operate using swaps, and they'd be looking to reclaim, 2 or 3 times the move of a stock or a basket of stocks. And so I suppose you would say that there was another dimension over and above simply holding the underlying. But I think you're just, asking if there's an ETF of ETFs, which is a fair question, but is rather irrelevant to your own trading, I reckon. Slow and steady is healthy. It is. Fast and consistent, that's also pretty damn good. Might not be healthy, but it's definitely good. Friendly, trendly, yes. Wondered if it really exists, that's all. I think it might be in the way that you're asking the question. You're looking for something very specific, like an ETF of the top real estate ETFs or something. And I imagine when you go into ETF inception, like, where does it end? But and like, it would be very tough to say that it doesn't, because there's ETFs that include baskets of other things, and some of them are ETFs. So, depending on the ETF itself, and if it's leveraged or if it isn't, then that's the real, the classic American ETF. State Street started the first ETF. It was based on the S&P 500. But since then, you've got loads, obviously, new ones all the time. Acid House, we like Acid House. That's amazing. 2 messages. That's totally worthwhile. Call your mom. ETF, I prefer EDM. Oh, that's where we're at. I see. Great. That's great, isn't it? That is freaking wonderful. So in today's show, we've covered live person price action, and we did it in a moderated tone because the thing's absolutely amazing. We don't want to get anybody too excited on top of what we've seen on price, because heart attacks aren't healthy. And the trend, that's your friend. You can trust the trend. You should probably trust TraceBond too at this stage. If you don't, I'd be suspicious of you, by the way. What way does your brain work? Evidence isn't enough? Man, you have been on for an hour. I was talking to my family. I could have been doing this. Hey, that's a very worthwhile experience. Congratulations, no doubt. But here you are now watching. You can go back to the start. You'll enjoy it, I promise, especially once I manage to unmute the microphone. Inception. It's too long. Marcus Lager's probably pushing Inception out here, shilling Inception. It's too long. But it's a great movie if you've got nothing to do for 3 hours or something. Like 3 hours, isn't it? At least it's like 3 hours. That was great, right? I'm sorry I made you such a long movie. I didn't have the time to make a short one. It's one data point, Merrick. It's one data point. You couldn't be using that if some price was going parabolic, obviously. But it would make sense if previously you'd seen oscillations of the same strength and that matched up with the first start of a parabola or an important linear trend line, or you weren't looking at on logarithmic. All of these things give you nuanced takeaways. Aha! Yes. Though I imagine your analysis centering around that thesis wouldn't be too far from the truth, but with regards to managing risk, it would make sense. As speaking to whether price goes there or not, well, it's in a really strong parabolic trend. It keeps breaking back above previous highs, putting in double-digit percentage moves every single day, and confirming a narrative we've known to be true since 54 cents. So you'd be asking for price to do you a favor with that level of a retracement. You were saying acceleration to the top side. I was saying acceleration of the trend, whacking you, of a trend already in motion, and that trend is to the top side. And then I was describing the nature of different types of price moves using the correct terminology. But I didn't distill it down to I was saying price was going to accelerate to the top side, because that's not what I was saying. And I suspect that a lot of the time I deliver incredibly contextual, fantastic information that later proves to be true. But in the moment when people hear it, they hear what they were hoping to hear, which is maybe what just happened there. It's $1 in the horizon in the meme the other day had me super giddy, super giddy. I'll buy that dip. These are interesting. These are no matter the X, you would be able to tell acceleration. Now, again, right, that's not necessarily true. Like, when you say words, do you know what they mean? I mean, what do you mean with acceleration? Are you talking about torque? Are you talking about the rate of change? Are you talking about acceleration applied over a period of time? And then how do you describe and articulate that, right? These are all different things. So that's it. And no matter the X, also, I mean, I tend to do this. I'm like, that didn't come out of my mouth, but it didn't. We know it. It was Mr. Yourself there who said it in the chat box. Congratulations, Mr. Yourself. I appreciate you expressing that positive point, and it's largely true. We don't care about the X-axis. Axis. Great song, that Pet Shop Boys. No, probably the best song. No doubt. Nothing worse than wasting time talking to family. Sorry, bud. Oh my goodness gracious me. People empathizing with you, out here empathizing with you. I just mean, if you choose any time frame, you can always tell if it's a curve. That's good to hear. I like to hear these things. Tell me more. Tell me more, sir. Actually, what you'd really be better off doing, and what I expected far more people to do, what was my very clear, distinct, and well-heard message yesterday and the previous day and every day on this show, and including the start of this show, was watch Rocky Outcrop. Watch Rocky Outcrop. Watch him. Watch Rocky Outcrop. You should go and watch him now. And to give you the opportunity to do that, I'll end this stream. Thanks very much for watching. J-Core on the Cob with the 50 membership gifts. 50. So if you turn on gifts, accept gifts, then you could get one. Oh my goodness, you're so lucky. J-Core on the Cob, thank you so much, my friend. Also, I don't think the chat box is going to take me there, but we had other people supporting the show too. 10 months, Mr. Colin. 10 months, though that most recent, maybe a gift. Lisa and Jumpin' Jabberwocky, both celebrating by helping me out, telling me I was muted. Thanks, guys. Who else did we get here? Boom, boom, boom. 50 memberships from J-Core on the Cob, and we welcome Butterfly Pancakes, who made the decision all of their own accord. Great to see it. Thanks very much for being here. Minner gifted one as well. You so lucky. I didn't notice that. Minner, good lad. Cheers, my friend. And boom. Nobody else has been doing all that well recently. What a shame. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the like button. Interact more with Rocky shows. Don't take us for granted, which you have been doing recently as a collective. So, no one person should take that badly or accept all of that critique themselves. But I'm looking to see you do more to support Rocky and the effort he's putting in, because he's delivering these opportunities and avenues for me to help you. So we'll see more of that, right? Thanks.